Good afternoon. Today's Tuesday, February 5th, 2019, and today's the first hearing of the month for the City of Tempe Hearing Officer. I'm going to read something into the record and then get right into our very short agenda this afternoon. The City of Tempe Hearing Officer is authorized by the Arizona Revised Statutes and the City of Tempe Zoning and Development Code. The hearing officer has the duty to carry out both the provisions and the intent of the Zoning and Development Code and the Tempe City Code. The hearing officer is granted the authority through Zoning and Development Code Section 6-310 to conduct public hearings to decide upon the abatement of code violations occurring on properties within the City of Tempe. Code violations include, but are not limited to, deteriorated landscaping, inoperable vehicles, deteriorated structures, storage of junk or refuse, or deteriorated swimming pools. Abatements are brought before the hearing officer by the city's Code Compliance Division, typically after numerous attempts at contacting the property owner to obtain voluntary compliance with the city code. The hearing officer may issue an order directing the owner, occupant, rental agent, property manager, or other responsible person to abate a code violation or authorize the city to abate the condition giving rise to that violation. The cost of such abatement is the responsibility of the owner of the property where the violation occurred and may be collected as an assessment against the property found to be in violation. On today's agenda, we have 3 items. We have a set of minutes and 2 property abatements. Any property owner who's aggrieved by a decision of the hearing officer may file an appeal within 14 calendar days after the hearing officer has made a decision. As such, the deadline for appealing any decision rendered today is 3 p.m. on February 19th, 2019. To make a couple of introductions, joining me this afternoon are Brittany Nelson and Steve Abrahamson from the Community Development Department. So that takes us to our agenda. The first item on our agenda is a set of minutes from January 2nd, 2019. And I had a chance to review these in the packet I was given prior to this hearing, and I think that they accurately reflect what took place at that hearing. So I'm going to approve the minutes for January 2nd, 2019. The next item on our agenda is a request for abatement of public nuisance items at the Pendleton property. This is located at 2414 South Clark Drive. Mr. Glab.
Good evening. I'm Michael Glab, Residential Code Inspector for the City of Tempe. I'm here tonight in reference to this property at 2414 South Clark Drive. In late August of 2018, I personally proactively observed an issue of grass and weeds and gravel landscaping at this property, and then mailed a notice to the property owner. In early September of 2018, my office then received a complaint related to issues at the property related to the landscaping and then a sidewalk obstruction to the front of the property. Mid-September, I did return and observe that the grass and weeds had remained, and then I did witness the sidewalk obstruction to the front. I then mailed a second notice to the property owner. In late September, my office received a second complaint related to the state of the property. Then in October, I followed up, observed little to no change, posted a notice to the structure itself. Mid-October, I returned, saw little to no change, issued a citation, and then taped the citation to the structure itself. Then in November, I returned to the property, saw little to no change, sought bids for property abatement, and then in December completed the packet for addition to a future hearing agenda. As a result of little to no change at the property, I'm seeking a 180-day open abatement period for this property in the event that once we clean it up, grass weeds grow back and the owner still fails to address it down the road. To my knowledge, nobody has contacted my office besides the complainants, and I don't recall ever speaking with the complainants. I believe they came in as anonymous. But the owner or a property manager, nobody's reached out to me to inform me about planning to comply. And then as of today, this afternoon, I have some photos I can present if you'd like.
Perfect. Thank you.
And this would be taken from the, it's facing west, but it's the south side of the structure itself. certainly grass and weeds, states of dead grass and weeds to new living grass weeds, and then some of the palms with fronds that are in violation of the palm code related to being within 5 feet of the ground, and then the ones behind it exceeding 8 feet in length. And then I have a second one here. This is taken from that same corner, but it's facing north. Shows the oleanders protruding out into the sidewalk, obstructing that.
So it is occupied,
Yes,
right?
it is.
To your knowledge, it's occupied,
Yeah.
but they just have been completely unresponsive.
Right. I believe it was around the posting of the citation or the posting of the notice. I had no answer when I did attempt to make contact at that time. I haven't attempted contact at every single visit to the property.
Okay.
And then just for reference, should it be raised down the road, the area here to the south is what they'd be responsible for. My understanding is that the city at times does maintain this area here in the green, but this is not maintained typically by the city.
Right, okay. Well, I agree with your assessment that it needs to be abated. I don't see any member of the public here or anyone presumed to be the property owner here this afternoon. So given the fact that I agree with your assessment, I'm going to go ahead and grant you the 180-day open abatement that you're requesting.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is a request for abatement of public nuisance items at the Anders property. This is located at 2156 East LaDonna Drive.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Jack Schofield, Code Inspector with the City of Tempe, here today requesting a 180-day open abatement for the property at 2156 East LaDonna Drive to correct violations concerning the deteriorated landscape, front and rear yard, and trash and debris scattered throughout the property. Notifications have been mailed to the property owner and posted to the property because the property is vacant. Have had absolutely no contact with the property owner. Did have the daughter call me once and leave me a voicemail. I attempted to return the call, and she never returned my call since. Citation was issued to the property as well, which the property owner failed to appear for court on. That's why we're here today to request a 180-day open abatement. I do have some photos from today. There's been a slight change in the front yard where she's cleaned up, or somebody's cleaned up. I'm assuming it's going to be one of the neighbors cleaned up the majority of the front yard. However, the backyard has not been touched whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah, and we can't rely on the kindness of neighbors, to pitch in. It is the responsibility of the property owner to maintain their property. So this is today, correct?
This is today, correct. This was
Okay.
this morning.
Okay. Well, again, I don't see anyone here, either a property owner or other member of the public. I do agree with your assessment of the property that it needs to be abated, and you are asking for 180 days, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So therefore, I'm granting your application to abate this nuisance item. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
That concludes our agenda for this afternoon. Staff, do you have any announcements?
No, thank you, Hearing Officer McDonald. No announcements.
Okay.